I'm gonna get this technology shit down yet.
Oh man! Holy
my stepdaughter's going into the FBI. Normally she has to be at my side, but I've done a couple of these recently, so it's all good.
Oh, right on, man! Damn, it's Ric
Do
Flair.
I need my Rolex on or sunglasses?
Yes, please do, please do. Let's see it, man.
Well, I have to just say I got my wife here, my manager, my agent, my controller.
Oh, there you go.
My everything.
You're everything.
Okay, should I wear that one? Or you want
Oh
the
yeah.
one?
Yes. Actually, you should mail that to me, Rick. I got to get a better look at it.
Okay, I'll do it. Just, shoot a message over to my agent. Do I need these two, or are we just cool without them?
Oh, you do it. You style and profile however you wish, good sir.
Well, I'll be just natural today. Natural one.
Oh man. I didn't sleep. I'm talking to Ric Flair. Yeah, it's Rick. I'm still in shock that he's here too, man. This is crazy.
Well, hey, a lot of people are.
We are hanging out with Ric Flair, Mikey, and Rick. I just got to tell you, while we're recording this, tomorrow is my 42nd birthday, and if
congratulations!
Thank you, sir. If you had told 6-year-old Jason that, at some point you're gonna have a face-to-face with sorry if I get emotional, one of your heroes, I wouldn't have believed it. And so this for me is
thank you very much.
Amazing.
I'm honored to be here, guys. I'm very honored you guys asked me to be part of it. So
yes, sir. Absolutely.
I'm
and Rick,
good to go. You can ask me anything you want.
Perfect. Right. Perfect. I got to say, I've always been a fan of you myself. I love Ric Flair, but when you did your pep talk for the 49ers, that just said it all. Like, I love this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, they ran me out of Charlotte after that. So.
It's all right, man. The Bay Area will welcome you right on in.
I'm down here with the Falcons now, so it's okay.
All right. There you go. So, Rick, I want to kind of, we do of course want to talk on your struggles, and we're glad that you've gotten on the other side of the health concerns. I was actually looking at going to StarCast. Of course, Conrad Thompson puts that on, and
sure.
All of his things. And then when you hit your health stuff, but I really want to dive back into to Little Rick, because you have an interesting story. Some folks may not know that you were adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that?
March 18th, born February 25th. Adopted March 18th.
And what were your adoptive parents like? Your father was a doctor,
the best. Right? Yeah, they were the best, and I feel bad that they were depicted as not being anything less than the best in my 30 for 30.
Yeah.
I don't think my first wife. Everybody's got a different take on it, but. I'm the only one that knows. I'm the only one that lived there. My parents were great. Mm-hmm. And them not seeing me play football was a legit, or wrestle in high school or track and field that often, was purely a logistic issue, which of course gets left out. I went to high school 300 miles, starting as of January of my freshman year, 300 miles from Minneapolis. And my dad was a full-time practicing physician. My mother was the head of public relations for the Sir Tyrone Guthrie Theater, which was the biggest contemporary theater in the Midwest at that time. And they worked.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't like they could just blow out of town on Friday.
Sure.
And because back then when my dad was OBGYN, and when a woman had a doctor, she had her doctor. Yeah. She didn't have one of 10 guys in a group that was on call. The doctors were responsible for their patients individually, and even though they did have partners later on, still it was just it wasn't the thing where you just the guy on duty took your calls and took your deliveries and surgeries and all that. So. My dad worked his ass off, and that's one of the reasons I weren't there more often.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Rick.
I was gonna say, I don't think they were crazy about sports like I was, but that had nothing to do with them. Being part of my life. There was no cell phones back then, and I talked to them once a week on a pay phone, and it was just different. When you go away when you're 15 years old, things are going to change in your life. And their relationship with me was great. They took me everywhere they could possibly take me as a child, and we were very close. We just went our different ways. Usually it happens when someone goes off to college. It happened when I went off to high school. So
yeah,
but it was a school I had to go to because I had brought on some problems to myself even as early as 15. So
now, was that the incident of getting the liquor at the liquor store?
Getting the liquor at the liquor store, yeah, and also I was riding a motorcycle around a public beach when my parents were out of town, and I got arrested for that. Nothing big, but it was one of those deals where first it was that, and then I had been at a slumber party with the guys in a car, and it cul-de-sac, and a neighbor came around the corner, and one of the guys in the car sat down on the brake pedal, and the cops came, and I think I went to jail for that for a couple hours. I don't know what it was called back then, but the father was saying statutory rape, but I was going, I don't think so. I'm in the car, but there were several incidents that brought about my departure.
So obviously, it sounds like your folks had a great work ethic, which I mean,
oh my God,
you're legendary for that. Do you think seeing them, and even though there wasn't maybe that much time, I know for me, my father was owned a trucking company, worked incredibly hard, and that even though I didn't have a lot of that time, I still carried that work ethic. Do you think their approach really had a big impact upon you?
I don't know that did as much, and I think this would apply to anybody. It's really liking what I was doing for a living.
Sure.
Yeah. If you like something and you feel like you're good at it, or have the potential to be good at it, and you want to be successful, which you hope everybody wants to be, and you want to be the best, even if it's practicing law or practicing medicine or being an architect, whatever your chosen field is. I think most people, I would hope, I don't know that the same way today because things are so different in terms of how you get great. But when I was younger, to get great, you had to work.
Yeah. Sure.
And if your name was on the marquee, you had to be there. 104 fever, torn rotator cuff, cracked C5 in my neck. I mean, I went to work. Jeez. But I'm not the only one. So, but
right. Yeah, which I want to.
That C5 in my neck was rough, but I never missed a night. They put me in tag matches where I just stood there, but it wasn't because I wanted to go. There wasn't enough alcohol to kill the pain in that neck. Those neck injuries, man, are brutal.
I can only.
But I lucked out. It healed itself, and when I cracked C5 in my neck, I did the technology wasn't such that they could go in and fix it like they can now. So, but it healed, and I've got a little bit of atrophy in my left arm and my lat ever since, but nobody even knew it. That happened in '89. So, but otherwise, I've been just gifted as hell. My knees and everything, my back, even after the airplane crash.
Right.
I'm happy. I worry about bragging about it to people, but since you're asking, I don't mind talking about it. It's a miracle. Because first they told me I would never wrestle, and then they told me that I would be an arthritic nightmare by the time I was 40 years old. So I've avoided both. I got back in the ring 6 months where I was supposed to, and I have had knock on wood, I even hate saying this, but no arthritis, nothing. I feel great. That's one
awesome.
of my problems with. That's been one of my problems my entire life with growing up. You know, if you don't feel like you're 71, it's hard to be 71.
Well, and I think it's a mindset too, right?
Hey, especially with a 28-year-old wife.
Well, she is still gorgeous, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Give me your number. I'll send you a pic after we get off the line here.
You got it.
Absolutely.
Deal. Oh, I had a major crush on her when I was a kid.
Hey, guess what? So did I.
Well, Rick, I
forgot to tell her. I forgot to tell her I was married.
Oh shit!
Slipped your mind. It's okay. These things happen, Rick.
God. How she got away from me for a whole year is a lot. That was a lot of going on. Really. Google Nature Boy, honey.
Well, Rick, let's jump back to college, because I really want to talk about the point in which you entered pro wrestling. And Vern Gagne being such a mentor, of course, me as such a wrestling fan, and the AWA. How were you just kind of lost in college? It just didn't fit in.
No. I fit in too good. I got rushed by about 6 fraternities, and I just was overwhelmed with the social life. Not overwhelmed with it, but when they sent me to Wisconsin, where the drinking age was 18, I had a phony ID when I was 15 years old. So that's one of the reasons that ID is the thing that got me. When I got the liquor thing with my parents, that was before I went away. That was after Wayland. Right. After I came back with the phony ID at Christmas time. So that just reinforced my staying there. No, I just got to college, and God, I tell you, the college life was, for me, I've never seen anything like it. And I thought I was moving pretty fast, going to Chicago on the weekend to see my friend Bruce MacArthur. His family owned the Blackhawks and the Bulls at that time.
Right.
And the Wirtz family is huge. And spending the weekend with him out in Lake Michigan they had a 47-foot Chris Craft back in the day, and they've got the 120-footer in Fort Lauderdale. But hanging around with Bruce and all my friends that I made in private school, it just changed the whole tempo for me. I wanted to play college football, and was going to Michigan. I signed a letter of intent, and my academic advisor would not write a letter saying he thought I could, predict a GPA that would allow me to play. So my second choice was Iowa. I went and spent a weekend with Eddie Podolak, and to say that they needed that letter too, and he wouldn't write it from there. So then I went home, and I met Steve Thompson, who is still up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Had been recruited to play. He was a year older than me. Was playing football in Minnesota. Took me to meet Coach McGee, and then I went to Minnesota as a non-predictor, and never predicted. And back then, I hate to say it, but all you had to do was go to class.
Right.
You just had to make attendance. And our fraternity house was about 2 miles from campus, maybe a mile and a half, 30 below zero. I just couldn't get myself to go. And I lived there, and I was in Frontier Hall for a while, but as soon as I moved over there, I was good until I got in the fraternity house, and I just self-destructed.
The Knockin Doorz Down autobiography by Carlos Vieira. It takes you deep into his destructive past and how racing saved his life and opened the door to give back to the community. And 100% of the sales go directly to the Carlos Vieira Foundation, an organization committed to raising awareness for addiction, mental health, and autism. And for inspiration and motivation, tune in weekly to the podcast every Thursday for real-life episodes from celebrities and local heroes. Get Knockin Doorz Down today at kddmediacompany.com or Amazon.
It just in terms of being just lazy. And then I still had a chance. Probably would have played my sophomore year as a right guard. But they wanted me to go to summer school for, I think, 8 weeks. And I went for a week and I said, forget it. I just walked outside and hitchhiked to Chicago and spent the summer in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And obviously my football career was over when I got back.
So at what point does the college life end and you have your encounter? I actually don't even know who introduced you to Vern.
I stayed there for a year after I was out of school. So and finally I got a job as a bouncer at George's in the park, and I'm standing next to the cigarette machine like you see in the old days, sitting on a stool, and then walks Ken Patera, and the rest. That just changed my life. Ken was there training for the 72 Olympics.
Okay.
So that was, I went to college. I graduated in 68. So I enrolled in 68. And I stayed there till 71. I met Ken in 72. Mm-hmm. And then Ken and I moved into a house together with, of all people, Mike Goldberg, Bill Goldberg's brother, small world.
Wow.
And Mike was playing at Minnesota too. Didn't get drafted, so he was hanging around Minneapolis, looking at different business ventures, and now he's, very, very, very successful in the private airline business. So, so the three of us lived together, and that was that's a great time. My dad got me a job as a central service orderly during the day over at Abbott Northwestern with 400 nursing students. That's just another chapter.
So what you're saying is that shit we've seen in movies is your reality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I went from living with Mike and Patera to living with 5 girls that rented from us the same house. Oh God. So anyway, from there, Ken comes back from Munich with a bronze medal. And we start training with Vern. I got introduced to Vern, and I mean, literally, it showed my 30 for 30 documentary that I quit once. I actually quit 3 times.
Oh man!
It was so intense and so hard. And I was 300 pounds. Ken was 300 pounds because I was actively powerlifting back then. Right. Trying to be like Ken Patera, which was never going to happen, but I was attempting it, right? And I just had seen wrestling on TV and thought I can do this, but the conditioning part of it about killed me. Literally to run 2 miles and do 500 free squats, 200 push-ups, and 200 crunches or sit-ups, right? It would take me over 4 hours. And we wouldn't do anything until we got done. I mean, literally, you can imagine, maybe even 5 hours. Mm-hmm. So if I arrive out there at noon, I haven't even gotten in the ring, which is in a barn in 30-degree weather in November, right? Even colder. And I haven't even completed the free squat. And after the first day, I couldn't walk. So I just quit. And he came and got me, and then I went back and maybe it lasted 3 days and quit again. It literally took me 2 months. Patera and I both, we could run that 2 miles and all that, in a 2-hour period. you know, but I mean, it's still, you know, I've gotten where I could do 500 squats now in less than 20 minutes when I'm in shape. But back then, man, I couldn't even, you try it sometime. Go out and run 2 miles. I don't know where you guys live, but even in the best of the nicest weather, and then do 500 free squats, and then 500 or 200 push-ups and 200 squats. It's a lot, you know, and until we could do that in a time frame that he was happy with. Actually, after the end of the first week, we just had to run a mile. He did slack up. The 2 miles was too much. I think he figured out none of us could do that in any time frame. So,
Right.
Now, was that Vern's way of just trying to? Was that Vern's way of trying to wash people out?
He wanted to see who had it.
Yeah. I think 2 miles would take me about a week and a half.
Well, keep in mind, this is not a track. This is cross country on his farm.
Right.
Yeah, this is up and down hills. Are you kidding me? I mean, I got no problem telling anybody, because people tell me they can do it right now. You know, tell me, show me.
Yeah.
I probably have $100,000. If someone hasn't done it, I got $100,000 cash on me right now. It says they can't do it. That's a lot, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And we were already had no idea that we're going to be doing that stuff. So, anyway, that's how I got going. And once I got it in, then we got in the barn, and then they spent another month trying to discourage us any way they could, you know, through roughing us up. And then finally, the last month we spent and started to learn a little bit about wrestling, and then it wasn't like it is now. They just said, go out there and wrestle this guy for 10 minutes.
And who was your first match?
George Gadasky.
Okay.
10-minute draw.
You were even doing Broadways then.
Yeah, for 10 minutes. But no one told me who was winning or losing. Nothing. I mean, there was no winner or loser.
Oh, wow.
And I can only imagine. I'm glad it's not on film. I can just imagine how bad that was, because I was so nervous, and then no one told us back then.
Right.
So, you know, it wasn't until maybe 6 months that I was there that people started, you know, saying, "Going to win, they're going to lose, do this, do that." They just, back then, he just believed that you had to go out there and, you know, with the idea that you might get your ass kicked, you might not, you know, where you were thinking to yourself, can I hang with this guy or can't I? You know what I mean? So that was it's a different way to start out in the business. But if you think about it, how many guys could do that now?
Yeah.
Not many.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a, you know, that development system that goes on, especially for the WWE now, where it's so hands-on. And to me, almost, you know, you know, as someone that grew up loving the business, worked in it for 2.5 years as a ring announcer and TV commentator here in California for a company. It's almost disappointing, because there may not have been a Nature Boy Ric Flair had that system been the way it is now.
Yeah, well, don't misunderstand me. They train hard and they condition really hard.
Yeah.
But they're not there to break you like they were in my age group. And with my Gagne was there to break you, to see if you had it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I totally would discourage that formula now, because it's not, you know, that'd be like, we were being trained like we were getting ready for the UFC.
Right.
Does that make sense? I mean, literally, I mean, and those kids, I mean, down in Orlando, make no mistake, they work hard, but they're not broken to the point of being discouraged. The good things they have are reinforced, and if the trainers, and they're, you know, some really good trainers down there, Terry Taylor,
right,
Norman Smiley, of course, Sean's there, for the expert group or the highest level. So they really have some good opportunities and good trainers. Sarah Del Rey is great. But at the same time, they're there to train them, to encourage them, and to look for the best and look for the strengths. They're not there to discourage them.
Right.
And we went through that large time frame of discouragement. But that was the way the business was. Really hard to get back in when I started. You didn't just walk in the door and say, "Hey, I'm ready to wrestle." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Who else was? Go ahead.
Not with Vern Gagne, you didn't.
Right.
But like that.
Who else was in that with you? Because Ricky the Dragon Steamboat trained with you. Was there any other individuals?
He was a year after me.
Oh, he was a year after you. Okay.
But he was part of that whole thing. He was in the building. Vern had moved to a building, which I just saw a little bit, where we went up and down the stairs carrying a guy on our back and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was in the camp head of that. I've done that when I was there, but I didn't do that as much as we did the outdoor the mile run and the free squats, which Ricky did. You know, they all did the 500 free squats. That was just a prerequisite. But yeah, Ricky Steamboat. And in my class was Kaz, the Sheik. Kaz Rowe, who only weighed 180 pounds. Then Jim Brunzell, Ken Patera, Jim Brunzell, Ken Patera, Bob Bruggers, who played for the Chargers, the Dolphins, and was a 3-sport University of Minnesota athlete: football, basketball, and baseball at the university. So he was a phenomenal athlete. Bob was also in the plane crash with me, and it didn't paralyze him, but he could never do anything. I don't even think he could play golf again, which probably had to bother Bob the most. But and Greg Gagne. So yep, but Steamboat was with Bob Slaughter, Sergeant Slaughter, the class after me. Yeah. But we did do some of that stuff in the building, but I thought the stuff in the building was a lot easier. that outdoor training, man, in Minnesota in November, geez.
The absolute shit, huh?
Yeah, absolute.
So
jumping off a hayloft. Go ahead.
What point is it where, you know, you're in your wrestling career and, you know, the Nature Boy persona, you know, starts to develop? Of course, you know, people know that, and you've mentioned it not being the original Nature Boy, but was it pre the plane crash or was it after when you came back?
After the plane crash.
Okay.
I was the Nature Boy, but I just didn't have a name before the plane crash. And I was still pretty heavy. I was 270 when the plane crashed, and I went down to 180. And I never went back over. I think the highest I got was 240 after that. Yeah. So a lot of that was the look and everything that I got that from Buddy, but there was only one Buddy Rogers. I got to know Buddy a little bit, but you've seen pictures of me, looked like $1 million. And really what made Buddy famous was, aside from the fact that he was very difficult to do business with, was his look. And Buddy was the first guy to do high spots.
Really?
You know, tackle, drop down, you know, all that. Remember?
Yeah.
And he did the strut. And I wrestled Buddy. I wrestled Pat O'Connor. I worked with all those guys. But yeah, Buddy was. He dressed immaculately. I got that from Budro. Even though I liked nice clothes before that, it really seeing him and the difference between him and the other guys and their look and how he carried himself, that really was very motivational for me.
Yeah. So after the plane crash and when you start getting back in the ring, is that when you're first finding the success as well as the excess kind of starts, or was excess prior to all of that?
5150 Apparel. Lifestyle with a purpose.
Excess was prior to all that. Excess was probably started as in the in college. If we're being honest.
Yeah. Well, I can relate. I did college for 7 years, Rick. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was in high school for 13, so don't feel bad.
Oh shit. So what point is it that then, you know, you're out on the road, you know, enjoying the excess, but I always was curious with you, because I know for me with my addiction is that, you know, I grew up not really having a comfortable home life, but even in adulthood, been through a divorce, 2 kids, I still don't really feel as comfortable with myself as I am when I'm working. You know, I've been in broadcasting for 20 years. You know, was it hard to just kind of come home, settle down, you know, or, you know,
Well, that you just said something that people don't realize. I didn't get to go home.
Right.
We didn't go home back then. Even in the territory, before I became world champion, Monday, you're home at 2 a.m. You leave at 2 the next day. So you sleep, you work out, you have lunch with your wife, you see your kids for 2 seconds, and you're gone.
Jeez.
And you're working. And then on Saturday and Sunday, you work twice.
Right.
You drive 3,000 miles, sometimes more that week. And I did that from 74 until I won the world title in 1981. And then I started flying everywhere. But I mean, I was telling someone the other day that I could be in, this was actually a week when I was a world champion. I was in Auckland, New Zealand, Sydney, Australia, St. Louis, and back in Tokyo, all in 7 days.
Goodness shit.
Yeah, that's a lot of drinking. And a lot of fun.
And a lot of fun. A lot of women,
Yeah,
you know.
good Lord. You make friends all over the world.
Space Mountain got its title for a reason.
Yeah. I don't remember any of that. No, I mean, that's the way, and they, that I guess they have figured out a way to compute it. I traveled more than any other world champion. Only 2 that probably traveled as much as me were Dory and Jack.
Yeah.
Because they kind of paired them up, and wherever, when either one of them was champion, that the other guy would travel basically with them, same match.
Mm-hmm.
Because there just weren't a lot of contenders that could wrestle an hour, and Dory and Terry, Dory and Jack Briscoe had such a marquee name. The 2 of them just coming into your territory was a big match. Now Crockett's territory had a lot of big individual stars anyway, but most territories didn't have a guy that wanted to wrestle an hour. And the rule was either you win an hour or you got beat. So a lot of times I'm wrestling guys that really nice guys and with ability, not always great, but they're not ready to wrestle an hour. And it's a long night with someone that's not ready to wrestle an hour. So it's, I think I drank to celebrate. I think I drank from frustration. I think I drank just because I was having fun and I found someone to drink with. And if I was traveling with someone, that was used to staying at the 8 Days Inn, he was staying at the Marriott with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just, I just had fun. I mean, I didn't have time not to have fun. I loved being a world champion, but the first time I had it, I wasn't ready. And I think I was frustrated with my lack of experience and what I thought I was ready. And I was so thrilled when they said you're going to, become the world champion. But then I went out on the road wrestling guys that didn't have the kind of experience I had, because I'd been groomed with Wahoo and Paul Jones and Mulligan and Steamboat and the Andersons and all these wonderful characters and wrestlers. And then on my first night out, I'm in West Palm Beach with Charlie Green, who was just a journeyman guy, and all fairness to him, a good athlete, but he'd never wrestled more than 15 minutes in his life.
Yeah.
So I was frustrated. I drew well in the Carolinas. I drew well in Texas and St. Louis and in Japan and Oregon I did. But I mean, a lot of the smaller territories I didn't draw that well in. And, you know, you're wrestling, you know, the guys look to you, the guys in the territories think, oh, wow, Andre the Giant's coming this week. We're going to draw. Everybody's going to be sold out. Oh, the world champions come this week. We'll be sold out, right? Because Andre and I would go in at a week at a time, never together, but you know, that's where they booked Andre. And which is one of the reasons Andre drank so much. I mean, he just never had any peace, aside from the fact that he traveled like I did, but he, you know, Andre couldn't go anywhere without, you know, being recognized and without having people bother him. So
Sure.
no, but I drank it. I had fun. I mean, right up to the end, right before I got sick, I would say to Wendy, she said, "Why do you like drinking?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "But if I was up at the country club, it would be acceptable, right?
Right.
But sitting in the bar wasn't. Does that make sense? That was the rationale I was trying to sell her as she was shaking her head walking out the door. Okay, I gotta buy this bullshit. Like, he's just trying to buy a membership of the country club, and he doesn't golf. He wants to sit up there and drink. And Wendy said, "We're not joining the country club for you to drink."
What was it like drinking with Andre? What was that like?
Oh God, it was the best.
Oh
But
man, I can imagine.
It wasn't a competition back. You didn't think of it like that. He could just drink. God.
Oh, I can imagine. Goodness.
2.5 gallons of wine in a 130-mile trip, one town to the next. Oh, Jesus. And then he'd send the promoter out to get some more wine before he worked, you know?
Yeah.
I won't mention him by name, but there was one photo one time that you're not allowed to drink in the dressing room. Bust. Wine or no Andre.
Speaking of the road, who are some of your favorite road partners riding the roads?
Oh God. I had so much fun with Arn Anderson and Tully and JJ, Barry Windham, Terry Taylor, Ted DiBiase, Henning, Bobby Heenan, and later on, with Evolution, I had a lot of fun with Hunter and Sean and Randy and Dave. We didn't all travel together, but we'd be out in groups sometimes, not the whole group at one time. But yeah, I don't think I've ever not had fun traveling. You know.
Yeah.
Hunter would spend more money on food than I would spend on booze, right? So.
Well, he's a huge dude. I know. I met him one time, and I was like, about the same height. And I was like, holy shit!
Literally, I don't know if he eats steak for breakfast. I'm sure he does, but he could eat that I would see at least 3 New York strips a day.
Holy goodness!
And I've seen him eat a 30-piece tuna sashimi plate. Yeah, I mean, he'd eat loads up on protein. Huge. Yeah. But it's impossible to get more than a half a glass of wine down his neck.
Rick, you brought up a couple of names there, especially Curt Hennig. What was it like? I mean, we're obviously touching on your struggles with alcoholism for very, very long time and the effects. But what was it like for you losing friends like a Curt Hennig? And there's been so many others for the drug-related matters. And did you see it? Did you recognize it? Or was it something that was kind of, they did a good job of hiding? Or
No, the drugs were prevalent. I just, once again, I'll go back to my parents. My dad just told me, I won't mention any names, but I was in the business literally in Minneapolis for a week, and they found out my dad was a doctor, and I had 3 different wrestlers ask me to get speed.
Oh, wow.
From my dad. So my dad wrote 2 scripts and looked at me and said, I'm writing this. This is the last one I'm writing. This was the first week I was in the business.
Holy
He
shit.
said, I don't know who these guys are. I don't know if they're your friends or not, but I'm not in the business of writing scripts. Yeah. So, as a matter of fact, he may have just written 1. The 1 stands out, but I had at least 3 requests. So then my dad was a doctor. Everybody, I didn't. That was my entry level into people getting prescriptions and all that. But I'm not bringing up his name because you mentioned it, but someone I had a lot of fun traveling with was Roddy Piper. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't leave Hot Rod out, but I saw everybody doing everything. I just didn't do it, and I literally have been at parties where I just said, guys, don't put me in that situation because I won't roll with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if I'm gonna come, I can go, but I don't do whatever you want. I just not doing it. I drink, do whatever you want me to do. I mean, I'll do whatever I want to do, but I don't start cocaine. I don't take uppers. I don't take downers. That's it.
Mhm.
So and that's it. Drinking, yes, and to excess, yes, but never any pills. So to be honest with you, I was extremely bothered by it for a while but coming from a medical family, and I was still, getting arguments with doctors that are treating me over something my dad would have told me,
Yeah.
in detail, would explain to me, and that, and I'll argue this with any therapist that have. It's a whole different addiction, drinking and pills.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Whole different level of safety too.
Yeah.
Same would apply to steroids. Okay. Yeah. So snorting cocaine and taking uppers and downers and drinking as opposed to just drinking. Sorry. Well, alcohol is a drug. Well, that's bullshit. Alcohol is not a drug. You don't have to go to a pharmacist to get it.
No,
No, think about it.
you got a point.
What if you had to have a prescription to drink?
Never.
Yeah.
That's also.
What if you had to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess what? But you'd have every lobbyist for liquor in the world. That would be bigger than the election.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So, but I mean, and that's kind of how I pled my case.
Yeah.
It's not illegal. What's illegal is me drinking and driving.
Right.
Okay, I don't have any DUIs. I mean, I argued, but I mean, obviously I was wrong, but that was my excuse to myself, and I would plead that case to Wendy, but she, that fell on deaf ears.
Right.
But
well, as addicts,
I'm very fortunate. I know I'm very fortunate that she rode that out with me. So
yeah. Well,
because after my son passed away, I drank more than I ever drank in my life.
$51.50 apparel, lifestyle with a purpose.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, Rick, because I think I've seen you wrestle. It has to be in excess of 30 times at least. And, I remember watching Nitro when Reid and Ashley too, Charlotte, for those who don't know her,
her
real name, and David, and, showing up on things. And I couldn't imagine what you felt when Reid passed away, because I know the love I have for I know the love I have for my children, but I know he was, proud to be your son.
Well, he was my man. We went everywhere together. I took him to Japan, took him to Europe, national wrestling tournaments all over the country. I don't think a lot of people are aware of it. I don't mind discussing it now, but it had been going on for 5 years.
Wow.
And I just was, I was guilty of watching, of doing the same thing that Fritz von Erich did. And that was turning a blind eye to it. Because when I first heard about it, I didn't believe it. And Hunter mentions that in my 30 for 30. I called Hunter and said, there's no way. But there's no way my kid is snorting cocaine. Absolutely not. Do I think he smoked a joint? Probably has. No way cocaine. And no way steroids. Because he asked me. I say, you take steroids, you're done. I mean, it's a shortcut. At your age, you need to just work on your body, your core, work out hard, and that's all you're going to need, You got my genetics. You're never going to look like Kerry Von Erich or Ricky Steamboat. Just get as strong and healthy and fit as you can. And the guy, he lived for fitness. He ate me out of house and home at GNC. He lived by Hunter's book. Have you ever seen Hunter's book about bodybuilding?
I haven't seen it. No, I'm aware of it.
From years ago, yeah, from 15 years ago. Yeah, he read that religiously, and here he is. We fought it. I mean, it's hard to explain. If Beth and I hadn't been divorced, we would have gotten divorced over it. Right. 5 years, and you have no idea how much money, which didn't bother me, the money at the time. You look back on it, all the rehab centers and everything, and you come to find out that it's not an addiction, it's a disease.
Right.
Heroin is a disease.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where it was like every 6 months. And about that 6-month mark, I would start, but when he came back from Japan, I thought, boy, everything's great. He's good to go. And thank God Wendy was there with me, but not the heat, but a big part of it was Beth blamed me because he was with me. And that was a lot for me to swallow. I couldn't, I couldn't argue that he wasn't with me. But I also couldn't, I couldn't lie and say that, and this I don't get a chance to say, which I'm glad I'm having an opportunity now. Every doctor told me to let him, kick him to the curb, let him bottom out. And that's the one thing I hold against myself, is I would never tell him, I would never let him go.
Sure.
Just, I mean, you don't have no idea what it's like. I'm not sure the age of your children, but when you can't find your kid on his cell phone for 5 days, and he has a track record like this, you can only imagine the anxiety between his mother and I. Yeah. And Ashley was away in Florida for about a year of it and didn't realize. And I mean, it was just insanity. You worry about him coming home and he doesn't come home. Then you can't find him for 5 days. Then you call the police. And then you hire a private eye. And finally you find him in a house on the other side of town. And cops have to get a warrant to a private eye. You pay him $1,000. He breaks down the door, pulls your kid out. You don't know any of the other people, just a bunch of junkies. Mm-hmm. Bring him home, or go to the hospital. And I've seen that exact same drill 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6 times. And the thing that fell on me so hard is that night when I got back, I was watching with my friend Mac Patterson, who is owns 35 Domino's in the Charlotte area. Real successful guy, but he likes NCAA basketball. We were watching the tournament, which is the same time as WrestleMania every year.
Yeah.
And we were at Del Frisco's, and he said, "I'm going to go back to the hotel," because I was staying at a place. I was in between. I was getting divorced, and I was moving to another location. So I had packed up and rented 2 suites on top of a hotel for about a month. And because I hadn't moved into my new place yet, and I was just starting. I think Wendy I've been dating about 3 months then, or 4 months. No, God, at the end of 12. Well, about 6 months at that point.
Okay.
And so Wendy had come to Charlotte. We were going to go to an independent show, 2 independent shows where the guy was going to pay Reid $1,000 a night. Money wasn't the issue, right? We're going to go together. Then we're going to fly from there to New York for WrestleMania. Ashley's going to debut on NXT. And I walked into the room, and he was, just kind of acting like I've seen him 100 times. So I laid him down in bed, and I came back. I said, "Wendy," I said, this is it. I can't, I'm not going to call the police, because it becomes, right, all the whole world's upside down.
Yeah.
And they've done it for me 5 different times. Check them in under an alias. Once we had to helicopter them across town, and it was my fault. I made the call. I said, "Well, just ride it out, and in the morning I'll just tell him that, he's got to figure it out on his own. I can't do this anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And I went in to wake him up in the morning, and he was gone.
Shit.
Yeah. So, should I have called? I don't know anymore. I battled that guys for years. And he was talking. He wasn't out cold or anything. He was just, mumbling, talking. And between Del Frisco's and there, he got on something. It's 1,000 different theories. But if somebody came to see him, if he snuck out, right, whatever. So, but you wake up to that, and then you got to figure out how to make it through the day, right? And then you got to figure out. And the only way that I could figure it out was to drink.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Rick, we had a gentleman on one of our episodes that he got really into it with me on my use, and he said, your addiction, your disease, it's I mean, he really broke me down. It's a coping mechanism, and I can just hear the hurt of it, and thank you for sharing that. I know it's a challenging.
No, I don't mind. I'll be sad talking about it the rest of my life. But here's the thing. I don't know that. I don't know that. That it was ever going to change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, the hurt never goes away. The change, the hurt, the blame. I'll take the blame. I'm the one that brought him back from Japan. He wanted to go to WrestleMania so bad. To see Ashley, we were all excited. And yeah. Wendy is so respected by everybody. She loves going, and it was just one of those deals. I literally, I started drinking it that morning, and I didn't quit until I went to the hospital in 2017.
Yeah. Can you share one?
It wasn't a discussion every day. It was a discussion every day for 3 years, but then it gets away, and you get away from it, and there's always going to be somebody that'll bring it up once or twice a week, and
right.
Then you relive it, and then something will come along to remind me of it, and it's a hardship I would never wish on any family.
Yeah.
And
some of our listeners have definitely, faced it. And so hopefully they know that you being so open and sharing that they're not alone, and life does and has.
You run out of excuses and run out of reasons. and wonder, to guess which was the right or wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? But
one of those no-win scenarios, I would think.
That, and there isn't for a family either. I had a friend, a lawyer, big time in Charlotte, who is he and his wife were very close. And a year after their daughter died in a car wreck, they were divorced. And I always thought to myself, I fell back on that thought when it happened to Reid, because it's very tough to coexist if there's a way to try and blame it on the other person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and obviously it happened on my watch, and so I'm responsible. But I also was responsible for being his best friend instead of being his father. And by that I mean, all these doctors, I'd have to see them practice that in real life to believe they can do it. But kicking them to the curb, and what if I found him on a street corner, I'd have killed myself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if someone had called me and said they found him in an alley, then how would I have dealt with myself?
Yeah.
So,
well, Rick, I was wondering if you would share, because I think it's a touching thing of what you left with Reid in his casket and what Vince McMahon did for you.
Well, I gave him my Hall of Fame. You talking about my Hall of Fame ring?
Yes, sir.
From 2008. Yeah, that's all he wanted to be. And are you talking about replacing it?
Yes, sir.
That was Hunter.
Oh, it was Hunter. Okay.
Yeah. I got to Orlando to see Ashley NXT, and Hunter said I need to talk to you. And I didn't know. I thought maybe something was wrong, and pulled me in the back room, and he had my 2008 ring from when I retired as a singles performer. He had it engraved, and it's the only one I wear now. The other one I don't wear that much. And it said Ric Flair with the date. So I've got that. Yeah.
I love it. That's
Can't
awesome.
put a price on that. That was Hunter. I mean, it was a big deal.
Yeah. And that love of friendship, when it transcends business, is that's invaluable.
It is, guys. You have no idea. It's like there's nothing you can't. And I'm not saying it because she's sitting here, but if I had been with Wendy in 2013, I'm sure I would kill myself. Well, I don't mean with a gun. No, I don't mean with a gun. I just meant I would really lost. Yeah. And she was there. Someday she'll write a book. I'm not worried about her being rich when I'm gone. She'll be rich. She writes a book about her taking care of me. Hell, I want her to go on Cameo now and charge $5,000 for a 2-minute short story on Ric Flair.
Oh,
yeah, I don't care. Everybody knows all the dirt she did. They want to know how you survived it.
And you're on Cameo now, right?
I am, yeah.
You are, yeah. I saw that.
I just got 2 while I was talking to you.
Want to take a pause? Go ahead real quick.
No, I paid those babies out, man. They're fun, but God, yeah, the people are so nice. That Martin's a great guy. But no, I'm just lucky. I have Wendy, man. I mean, between that and staying in the room with me, 31 days of ICU and never left. You know, telling doctors what's up if she didn't like something that was going on. Yeah. The only problem was that she was just a practicing lawyer. Now she's a practicing physician. And no matter what the doctor tells me, if it doesn't fly with her, it doesn't work.
I gotta find myself a Wendy.
We're arguing over my testosterone level as we speak.
Hey, Rick,
she likes it down in the low 20s. I'm not even alive.
I think we've coined a new phrase. Get yourself a Wendy.
Get yourself a
Wendy. Right.
That's a new phrase. We are going viral with this. Get yourself a Wendy.
Hey, let me tell you something. If I had Wendy when I retired from the business as my agent and manager, God only knows where I'd be. Jesus Christ. I mean, she has learned it all, man. There ain't nothing gets by her.
Yeah.
Zero.
Hey,
she even gave me my own credit card.
Oh, Lord.
American Express Wendy. She's got the black card with no limit.
Oh,
she
nice.
She got me a training card with a $200 limit. With my name on it.
She knows you well.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping on, guys.
Oh, shit. Hey, Rick, real quick, because it's one of my favorite matches of all time. And you know, there's very few matches that I can have any recollection of bringing me to tears, and that would be your WrestleMania match with Shawn Michaels, your match. What did that you know mean to you as a performer on that grand stage? And with, you know, for me, people always go greatest in-ring performer. I go Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels. I don't know, flip a coin depending on the match. You know, what did that mean to you?
Well, first of all, it meant the world to me. I didn't realize how big it was going to be. You never do till you walk out. I didn't even know if Orlando was going to be like. I thought, okay, I'm going to retire in Orlando. That was a so-so town for me. I was there a lot with Dusty and all that. But, you know, when this falls on you, for me, everything with wrestling is real, which has been a problem my whole life. The Hall of Fame to me is my Hall of Fame. And I don't care what it says. It's the greatest retirement weekend. And I've got friends in the Football Hall of Fame, basketball, baseball. I don't think anybody's had a weekend like that. If you look at it in the entirety.
Yeah.
I talked way too long on my induction speech, but then to have that moment with Shawn, and I didn't know the fans would be like that with me. And then Raw the next night. I mean, who gets that in the business?
Yeah.
Really, who does? And I was lucky enough to, and you know, I've admitted this. I have no problem admitting it now. I would have never gone back to work if I didn't need the money.
Right.
But I was, you know, I was eligible for my retirement at 59. That's the year I retired. Mm-hmm. But paying 3 people alimony at one time, you know, it literally was killing me.
Yeah.
And so to get a big payday. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. You guys can see me?
Yeah, the video cut out. There you go. You're back.
There we go.
There we go. How about now? There we go.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yeah. To work 58 days a year, I did it. But I hate myself for it. And I've told Vince that after they have that send off, it was just because of, you know, I just financially, I needed some cash coming in because I was going through anything that I had in retirement like crazy.
Right.
So, yeah, but those are bad decisions I brought on myself. That is, I can't blame that on anybody else but myself.
Yeah.
And
well, and
just thankful that Wendy came along.
Yeah.
When she did.
We're thankful she did too. But it's, you know, you do mention the TNA stuff, which actually I was showing Mikey the other day. He had never seen it. Your work with Jay Lethal, which
that was fun.
It was so great, you know, and that's the thing I always, that why Ric Flair had me right here in my heart every time was because you're always so passionate, and you just seem so incredibly.
Oh, I worked
in
hard.
the
I
moment.
tell you, for me, I had a chance to get to know AJ, who I've become pretty close friends with. I became very close friends with James Storm. Kurt was there. Sting was there. Um, um, Kevin Nash for a while. Kevin I'm close to. So it was easy. It wasn't like I was not having fun. Then Hulk came along, but it was just, they had the send off I had, and then I felt bad. And, they actually thought they could go up against Vince. And I told Hulk, Hulk, you can't, I just said, this is going to be another WCW 10 times as disastrous. But,
Right.
and as you can see, we did it 1 week, right? I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
So, okay. But I've apologized to him since and told him that, I realize, not that he holds it against me, because he's not like that, but, you never like to disappoint someone that's done so much for you. And that would be the entire family. My whole career, the McMahons have bailed me out of shit, and they've been there. And I'll tell you something else that I was telling Shane on Monday night. His dad FaceTimed me, even though I wasn't awake, because I was in a coma. FaceTimed Wendy literally almost every day with Mark Carano to see how I was doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's at the end of the day, those are the kind of things that you think about later in life.
Yeah.
So I just hope to be with him for a while more. Yeah, my daughter I'm so proud of her. She just.
Ashley's doing amazing. Charlotte, for those that don't know.
Yeah, aside from the stuff with Sean, which was the greatest part of my career so far, the greatest part has been to see her, rise to the level that she has, where she's in such a special place, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
In terms of ability, yeah. So.
Well, and what does it mean to you as a father to see your daughter break some, not gender bias, but I mean, headlining WrestleMania? I would have never thought I would have seen that in my lifetime.
Yeah, I know, and you know what? I'm sure she'll do it again.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, when the girls came out, it was I think 2 weeks ago was the anniversary of the 5 years, and she's never missed anything that whole 5 years. So, and she doesn't like sitting on the sidelines now, but it was something that needed to be done, and she'll be back, and she'll be better than ever. But to be that good, I mean, anything that I ever accomplish is she's overshadowed, and to taking that step, and she's got the whole world ahead of her forever.
Yeah,
I couldn't be happier for that. And guys, you can look at it and say, well, that happens. That it doesn't happen in our business very often.
No, because there's so many that have tried.
Yeah, and for me to still be here with her along that road, that never happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For Wendy and I to get to go see her at events, and Wendy's got a place at Rosemary Beach, and they came to visit us there, and those are the things. And Wendy's got one daughter left who will be home. We got, so Wendy's over here bringing her tears to her eyes. All her girls are gone except for one. So, yeah, one's going to be at Gainesville this year. One's going to UF. Her son's at Auburn, and the one that's going in the FBI will graduate in May, and then she heads towards Quantico. So, awesome. And then the little one will be here. Summer will be with us, and then she's ready to kick ass now. So she'll be the next Wendy.
I love it. So Rick, after you got out of the hospital, and sobriety seemed like the only necessary thing to do. Did you ever get involved in any sort of programs, AA, NA, or was it just the support of Wendy and loved ones?
No, I just had to quit drinking.
Yeah.
I didn't get the support of any of that shit. I'm not doing that. You know, you either figure out you can't do it again, and then like me, you try to talk every doctor in the world into a reason why you can, and they all go, yeah, you can have beer, a beer. Okay, that's no fun. So, and then actually I went a whole year and like 16 months, never had anything. And then Wendy we got married at Rosemary Beach. It'll be 2 years, the 12th of September. And at the wedding, I had 3 glasses of champagne, and I went upstairs, I had an anxiety attack, thinking I was going to die that night from drinking the champagne. So, you know, now once in a while, here are the exceptions to the rule. When I get to go to the SmackDown or Raw, I will have a couple of drinks, beer, wine, right? Mm-hmm. If I see Charles Barkley, I for sure am going to have a couple of drinks. And,
oh, shit.
And Wendy, about once every 3 weeks, she has what we call her wine day. That's the specialty. I can't tell you any more about that thing.
Oh, man. Mikey, anything else for Miss Flair before we get to some rapid questions?
I was going to say, let's get to the rapid questions.
All right, Rick, we've got some rapid questions we're going to throw out here to wrap up for you. If a movie was made about your life, who would play you? Who would you like to have play Ric Flair in a biopic?
I like Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah.
I like Bradley Cooper. Yep, I like Bradley. Well, she said it was Matthew McConaughey. I've never met him, but of course, wouldn't be thrilled. But you know, it's the Wahlberg character is so. You know, Mark. I've only met Mark a couple of times, but he's a pretty aggressive type guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, yeah, but any of those guys, I'd be flattered. It's got to be a guy that knows how to, lay it down.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because I'm too young to teach him the role. I'm too old.
Rick, I got one for you. What are your pet peeves? Give me some pet peeves of yours.
Sports announcers that don't know what they're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. If these guys that have, I mean, I'm not going to list their names. There's 3 of them that drive me crazy, but I really feel like you have to have done something athletically in any way, shape, or form to comment on the decline of people's skills.
Sure, yeah.
Or decline on, or this age stuff. I mean, I really struggle with the guy that goes, and I'll give you Roger Clemens as an example, right? Oh man, Roger's throwing in the low 90s now. He's done. The next day, Roger has 20 strikeouts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I've only met him once. I loved him. He treated me like $1 million. I'm really hoping that Tom Brady kicks everybody's ass this year.
That would be a pretty cool story.
I hope he does well. I hope Jimmy Garoppolo does better, but that's just me speaking.
Not gonna happen. Porn star Jimmy, forget it.
Porn star Jimmy G, baby.
Porn star Jimmy.
Oh, I love it.
Speaking of,
I do like that handle.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, bringing up athletes, Rick, what has it meant to you to have not only athletic teams, but even like hip hop culture has kind of, you know, kept the Nature Boy, the icon, alive. I mean, you've had a song written about you that has over 300 million views on YouTube alone.
Someone just got a chain with you as well, right? They had a
364 million. You know what it means to me? I needed somebody else negotiating the deal. I tell Offset it all the time. Jesus Christ. I didn't realize how YouTube works.
A little bit of royalties on that one,
Yeah,
right?
no shit. Oh God. Now all that Offset has done to me is you make me spend $100 grand more in jewelry to keep up with them. But no, all those guys. I talked to Snoop, you know, a couple months ago. He just, you know, when Snoop on my 30 for 30 said I had such an influence on their culture, those are the kind of things you can't buy, put a price on, you know.
Sure.
When you get inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he talks about all the guys, and he ends up by saying, and I can't leave my brother out, man. The guy that brought so much to our culture, and you know, it for all the things I've done wrong, I'm so glad that I made those guys happy. Sergio Brown, limousine ride, jet flying. We did that stuff with Sergio, and it was with the Colts, and you know, and from there, I've talked to the Falcons and 49ers. Probably going to talk to the Falcons again this year. Just love sports, love the athletes. You know, there is no color in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's no color. I never thought about it, never seen it. And I just want everybody to be happy.
Absolutely.
You know, and as someone that's seen it all, the highs and the lows, I think it's just really important for everybody to just say, guys, hey, time out. Let's just love each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Life's too short.
Yeah, life can be absolutely way too short. Amen to that.
Yes.
I feel you. I know for me, I had to do a lot of amend making, and you know, it's like listening to JR on his podcast with Conrad.
Yeah.
Which we're going to be advertising this episode with Conrad, actually, on JR's podcast, and
great.
something to wrestle with. But
with Bruce,
JR, yeah, with Bruce. Yeah, but what JR said that for me has stuck with me is, you know, after his wife Jan passed and those kind of things that occur is leave the baggage at the door.
Oh, yeah.
Baggage at the door.
Yeah. You're talking about anything negative.
Yep. Any of that stuff, carrying it, harboring it.
There's no time for it. There really isn't. You know, when you've suffered, and you know, I was with Jim when he met Jan.
Really?
So I was there I was there for the whole thing. I saw it develop, and then them start dating, and was very close to Jan, both of them. You know, I couldn't wait to see her every year at WrestleMania. Jan was a special kind of person, and she understood Jim, and she didn't put the brakes on anything. She understood that he liked working and being part of the business, that it was his life. Very similar to Wendy. Right. It's hard, and I'm sure, I'm not just saying wrestling, but I think when you travel and you're in the public eye, it takes a special kind of person that just, you know, walk off and do your own thing. With Wendy, if I'm doing something that requires some worth, Wendy's over buying a Chanel purse. She can do a shit what I'm doing. Hey, and with her own credit card. Yeah, you want to talk for a while? I'll see you in a couple hours. Especially if I'm in Vegas.
Oh shit! I love it. Rocky, anything else?
I said that. I told her I saw a brand new 750 BMW she might like. She said, "Yeah, if I want it, I'll buy it." There ain't no asking shit around here.
Rick, there is one more thing, man. We got the
She's gonna be on Cameo. You can call her for marital advice.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Hey, Wendy, if you can hear me in earshot,
There's kid right here.
whenever I get in this
Hi,
serious,
Wendy.
whenever I get in a serious relationship, we're gonna hit you up again because I need a woman that can understand my awkwardness. So if you can do Rick, you can coach
Love
anyone for me.
If I could do Rick, I could do anything. Trust me.
Wow. Jesus.
Because hey, we have coined a new phrase: "Get yourself a Wendy." We're
Get
making this go
yourself a
viral, Rick.
Wendy.
This
You
is
know
out there.
what she just texted me?
What?
This has gone over an hour, so make sure you double up on the charge.
Well, oh,
she's,
I love it.
she's the agent from hell.
Hey, you gotta be on it.
Woo!
Ric Flair. That's what I was gonna say. We have Ric Flair in here. You got to give it to me one time, man. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Limousine riding and jet flying, kiss stealing and wheeling dealing. Woo! Remember all you women out there, none of you can be first, but multitudes of you, for these two young gentlemen, could be next.
Woo! Woo! I love it, man. I love it.
I don't think we can do anything more. I think on that note, Mr. Ric Flair, again, you know, like I said, tomorrow I turn 42, and I can't think of a cooler birthday present. And you know, I've been such a fan
Oh,
for a
thank
long,
you.
long
Hey,
time. And
hey, you're just a kid.
thank you, Miss
When
Wendy.
he says happy birthday, that's all. Don't be sending many pictures, Wendy. Calm down. You guys take care, okay?
Thank you so much for your time, Rick.
Thank you,
Any
Rick.
more questions you want? Go ahead, ask me something serious. I know what you want to know.
What's that?
Never mind.
Are we talking about
I
the
gave you
Rolex
a free
still?
one.
Are we talking about the Rolex still?
I'm trying. Yeah, got it right here.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Oh, shit.
Love you guys.
Love you,
too.
Rick.
Thank
Thanks
you,
again,
Rick.
brother.
Knockin' those times, showing thoughts of rhyme. I'm a